everyone, so I just wanted to do a video recording of how to set up a basic altar for Wiccan ritual spell work and so forth. So basically my altar, it's never easy because I didn't want it to be set up in a biased way, so I incorporated like Cambodian, Indian, Middle Eastern, Tibetan, Chinese, Japanese, Mongolian, Egyptian, Celtic, Wiccan, and of course Almine's mystical tools in my altar. So, and my spiritual practices. Why? Because I don't really have a religion. I don't believe in just one thing. Actually, as a matter of fact, I don't even have a belief system. Because I honor all caste, creed, and religion, and all like spiritual ways of teaching. And you have to be open-minded about those things because you learn so much faster when you do open your mind to everything. Because when you open your mind to everything, you also become the door to everything. Anyway, so my altar is it faces the north instead of the east because it's facing the north because I'm Cambodian, so I do that the Khmer way, just like Angkor Wat is facing in the north. So I face it that way instead of the Wiccan way, which faces east. And the elements on the altar set up both Wiccan and Celtic way, because I really was never taught how to do the Khmer way to set up an altar. So yeah. So in the center of the altar represents spirit, and it's where I hang my charm sigils and like a black angel's wing to kind of represent freedom and flight of spirit, like angel's wings. I mean, I don't know why. I don't know why it's black, but I couldn't find a brown angel wings for the altar, and it's actually a costume prop. I just use it to represent that. So your altar can be anything. You can make it to anything you want. Use your imagination. If you want to decorate it with costume props, by all means do so. It's just, you want to have fun with it at the same time. So I encourage that. So white candles, clear quartz crystals, animal totems, I put that in the center of my altar to represent spirit. Basically, it represents me and my energy. And basically, if you're doing ritual work, I've studied like the types of spells and how fast, moderate, or slow a spell can be. So spiritual spells are moderate spells, and there are spells that can be like about intuition. So when you're doing things like being intuitive, you're growing, or you're changing, or you're releasing karma, the act of like forgiveness, releasing, or if you're sitting down recapitulating or meditating, or if you're dreaming, they're all spirit spells basically. So you ever heard the saying, I couldn't wake up because I had like a dream spell that wouldn't go away? That's what it is. It's a spirit spell. Basically, it's the act of feeling like you're sleepy and you're going into a dream state. That can be a spell. So that's one thing. So it's a moderate spell. It goes at its own pace. So if you ever conduct a spirit spell, basically what you do is all spirit spell, what you go about in life. Basically, they're revolved around your conscious and subconscious. And you use that in ritual work too. So that's why it's one of the important parts of the elements in the pentagram, the pentacle. The north of the altar represents earth. Earth elements can be like a besom. It could be my grimoire or my book of shadows, parchment paper, any statuary, a mortar or pestle, jewelry, gems, crystals, stones, herbs, flowers, and so forth. The green candle represents the north, the earth element, Amber crystals, animal totems also represent them. And earth spells, there are slow spells. They're the slowest spells in most of the spells so far. I think they're the only slowest spell in here, in the whole entire, Wiccan ritual. And these type of spells can be like when you do banishment rituals, or if you're grounding and you're purifying, and meditating. Meditating is also both spirit too, but they're both because you're meditating on the ground, on the floor, touching a tree, and so forth. So that's the north. The east of the altar is set up to represent the water elements, and the water elements are like seashells, abalone shells, a water fountain, a chalice, essential oils, anointment oils, potions, and so forth. So the blue candle represents the east, the water element. Turquoise crystals, that's actually my birthstone. It's a water element. Rain sticks, instruments. I incorporate instruments into my altar too, because that's also the Toltec way. The Toltecs use instruments to represent the elements too. So rain stick is also a water element because it sounds like rain. So you can use that in like Toltec rituals, or my ritual work. I use that to represent rain. When I'm opening and closing a circle, I shake my rain stick around a circle and to open a circle. It's also good if you want to do like sound elixir rituals, like for sound healing work. Instruments can also be incorporated into the work as well. So water spells are like moderate spells, like earth spells are moderate spells. They take their time when you do the ritual. They can be like actions, like if you're dropping water, or you're floating in water, or floating something in water. Freezing water, like if you want to put something in a cube to contain it as an act of a ritual or spell, you can put it in a water and then freeze it in the refrigerator and then crush it later or something, or smash it as an act of release. Melting is another. Bathing, as a form of cleansing, but it's also like a form of water spells. Swimming could also be part of water spells. Soaking in the bathtub and the act of anointing can be water spells. And they're moderate spells because it takes time, for the actual spell to work. It also, moderate spells has to do with the mental part of you too, the mental and spiritual part of you. So it can take a while. And they're moderate spells because healing comes from those two types of spells, the earth and the water spell. So the west of the altar is said to represent air elements, and the air elements are things like feathers, dream catchers, wind chimes, smoke pipes, and an athame can be a form of air spell, or air elements. The yellow candles is the west air element. So here for instruments you can use bells, gongs, harp, and flutes to represent air spells, air elements. And air spells are also moderate spells, just like the water and earth spells, because they also take time. And they can be like cleansing, when you're smudging, you're cleansing yourself, or smudging or cleansing things. Airing a place out with a fan or so forth can be an active an air spell. Blowing out a candle, whatever. Whistling, if you're trying to create music, you're whistling in a ritual, can be also an air spell too. And breathing, like when you're meditating, that's also an air spell when you're breathing in and out. Okay, and the last one is the south. That's the south of the altar represents fire elements. And the fire elements are like cauldrons, incenses, sage sticks, matches, candles, smoke pipes too, and wands, etc. So the red candles represent south of the fire element, and ruby crystals represent them as well. They represent fire, and the drum instrument represents fire. You think of the Toltec, how they dance with drums around a fire. So that's what the drum instrument is with the fire element. And fire spells are considered to be one of the fastest spells because they just work faster than all the other spells. And they can be like, if you're trying to like write in your grimoire, they're very fast spells. They're immediate. Burning is another, because burning, it's really fast. You want to throw something in the fire, boom, done, burned. Okay, so those are that. Another fire spell is if you're rubbing something together, you're causing heat. So that's also another form of a fire spell, when you're rubbing things together to cause heat. So those are the basics of the altar setup, and the directions, the elements, the type of spells for each section of the altar or ritual, and the meaning of the spells and what type of spells corresponds to each of element, the direction, and so forth. So hopefully that gives you some information about altar setup and how it's used in daily rituals and circle casting. All this information, I've read books, so you can find information in books, and it's really good knowledge to have when you're doing ritual work. You don't want to go into it blind, because I like to be able to explain what I'm doing, and I like to be able to understand what I'm doing. So hopefully this helps. Also with altar setup too is that you can find a lot of things out there in nature to add and decorate your altar. Like go out and you get a pine cone, and that could be part of your the earth element for your altar. You can find seashells and things like that at the beach to add to your the east part of your altar, which represents the water element, because seashells are close to the water. They've been washed by the ocean, so that gives your altar more, it contributes to more of the energy of it too. And right now, since I've completely basically decorated my altar to a point where I think it's completely finished. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of add-ons later, like herbs and things, as I collect and as I collect my tools and stuff like that for ritual work. It's I find that when I was taking pictures, my altar seems to glow. It's like this kind of smog fog of light, which is kind of odd for me, but I think it's because it's like the place in my entire apartment where I go to and spend the most, and I think I put a lot of my energy into it, which is why it tends to kind of glow in my pictures. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this session, and I plan on doing a video tour of my altar and explaining like in person in the video where things are set up, so you guys have a better understanding of altar setup and stuff. Anyway, so that's my say, and I hope you all have a nice day.